No, we got to record.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Look at Dan.
We can't be dilly-dallying, all this stuff.
Let's just get this shit.
From Indianapolis, Indiana, this is Truth It.
Why haven't we done this in 3 weeks? Where
Well,
have you
because I
been?
was traveling.
Where were you? I know where you were, but tell the audience, where were you?
So, to the audience who's not going to hear this because I'm going to cut it out.
Well, it's good practice, but you may. How many times have we said we're going to cut something out, and you're like, "Oh, that was good. We're going to."
Usually, that's something I pull on my unsuspecting victims.
Yes.
As the editor, so I went to New Mexico.
Yep.
Filmed scene 1 of a commercial.
Oh yeah.
In a manufacturing setting, and then I went to Prescott, Arizona, and filmed scene 2 in a. That's your gift, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Scene 2 in a house setting. So it's like the creator and the wearer of this jewelry.
Cool.
And then after that, I drove straight from Prescott to LA for another project, a photo shoot out there.
Let's talk about the temperature for a second. What was that like?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked, Michael. That's a very great question. It was very cool. It was not hot.
In Albuquerque, it was cool.
In Albuquerque, it was warmer.
No.
But it was not hot.
Yeah.
Absolutely not hot.
Not humid.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that much dry
What was
heat.
Prescott? What was the average temp when you
It
were there?
was probably 72.
Oh, that's good.
And
That's
then
great,
in California, it was actually unseasonably cold,
Wow.
which in Indiana we would call not very warm
Yeah.
because it was like 72.
Europe could go for some of that right now.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was very mellow. Very
wow.
It was not super hot. And then we came back here and it was 90 degrees in Indianapolis.
Welcome back. How long was the drive from Prescott to LA?
That's like 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You loved it.
What a great view.
Yeah,
Just
it's so
unbelievable.
cool.
Have you ever done the drive west out there? Route 66.
Okay, yeah, I've been on some of Route 66.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fun.
through Kansas and some of that
Yeah,
area.
Yeah,
I've done
it
that.
goes across, from Chicago all the way
all the
across
way
the
to-
country.
To
Well,
California,
Used to go all the way, I should say.
Yeah, I don't know what is and isn't there still. But
It's funny because when you're out in New Mexico, there are long stretches of 66 that are still in play. You'll go right alongside it with the highway, the federal highway anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
it was an unbelievably beautiful drive. So from Arizona to LA, and of course you're driving across half of Arizona and almost all of California, that southern part of California. You just see the most unbelievable view of the mountains.
Yeah.
The roads are mostly level, like mostly kind of like, I don't know what the elevation would be, but like just you're driving on flat ground most of the time with some exceptions. And then you just see mountains all around you.
Yeah.
The colors are changing.
Yeah.
At some point you start to see some trees, palm trees pop up at
It's
some
kind of
point.
cool, isn't it?
It
It's
is
like, where did those
unbelievable.
things come from?
There's this one part that terrified Carrie as the passenger. I'm driving through this windy road, the
Yeah.
exception to the flatland. We're literally like carving the side of a mountain, basically.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was like steep turns, steep drops, tight turns. It was, to me, I thought it was really cool. And she
Carrie.
was crouching down below the windshield so as not to not to freak out. It was really great.
I love you, but
It was really great. I had a great time.
Yeah.
How are you, Ryan?
I'm good, yeah. I'm recovering from back surgery
what?
like 5 weeks ago.
Holy cow!
I'm thankful for modern medicine because I
welcome.
was in the ER twice and I was bedridden, and now I'm moving and walking 5 weeks later. So
Yeah.
What was
thankful
wrong?
for that.
What happened?
Herniated disc was pushing on my sciatic
Classic.
nerve.
Yeah.
So the nerve pain was from my waist to my feet. I still have 3 toes that are numb. But yeah, the doctor, he looked at me when I came in and I was bedridden. I literally climbed in the back of our van and just laid down all the way to the doctor's office and kind of wheelchaired me in, laid up on his table. And he literally said, it's the most excruciating pain a person can feel. And in the moment, I just assumed he meant like apart from childbirth or something else, you know.
Yeah.
And then later I left and I was like, no, he said that's the most excruciating pain a person can feel. So it was pretty bad.
Not to be cute here, but you were a CFO at one point in time in your life, correct?
I have been a CFO on kind of an interim basis.
Okay.
Really,
I was going to say fourth quarter, end of year may be the most excruciating pain you can feel as a CFO.
Remember, he has filled every C role you can
I
think
saw that. COO,
Yeah, a lot of different
CFO,
roles,
CEO?
really CIO, Chief Information Officer, IT guy is really what my bread and butter is.
I saw
But I've
that.
been in the COO seat a lot.
Yeah.
I've also run companies. I own a couple of companies right now.
I heard you bought a company in Franklin.
And I bought a company, not in Franklin, in Broad Ripple.
Oh, Broad Ripple.
Yeah,
okay,
in Broad
sorry.
Ripple. Yeah, last August.
What, can we talk
So
about that?
we sure can. Yeah, we just...
Yeah,
Let's hear about it.
Yeah.
Well, so first of all, you said you own a couple of companies,
Yes.
and I think I only know about the one.
So the first company, that's because it's not really a company, or I don't necessarily think of it as a company. I formed an LLC to own real estate, investment real estate,
Okay.
like 10, 12 years ago.
Got it.
Kind of started that journey of entrepreneurship in that realm with single family homes and Airbnbs, short-term rentals, things like that. And then more recently purchased entrepreneurship through acquisition, they call it, where you buy a company from someone who wants to retire or no longer wants to own the business.
Yeah.
And so I did that last August. So that's my second company, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is and it's the sewing business, right?
It's the sewing business.
Tell
yes.
me how that's going.
So it's going well. It's going well. It's a bit of a turnaround situation. So people who were retiring and wanted to be done had not been really investing in the business a lot the last 5 years, and so it's a bit of a turnaround. But we're on the right trajectory now. Hoping to close out the year in the black, and then I'll feel really good about it.
Yeah. Now,
Black is always good.
Yeah.
do you feel like so there's always when you buy a business, there's always these surprises that kind of show up afterwards, and if you expect it, then the only possible surprise is that you didn't have any surprises. So did you expect some of those the types of surprises that you've experienced, or were you blindsided by some stuff?
Good question.
I wouldn't say I was blindsided by anything. I read a lot of books on the topic of purchasing companies and listened to podcasts on it. So I tried to go into it eyes wide open. I think the thing that really surprised me was how much financials can be manipulated.
I've been doing that for 20 some years, so yeah, I already know.
And
Michael and I both know about this.
In a traditional job, you get a W-2.
Right.
It shows up at the end of the year.
Right.
Even if you partially own a company, you get a K-1 or whatever, and you just kind of turn all that stuff in, and it turns into your taxes.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel like there's really anything you could do. Like you
Right.
paid your Social Security, you did whatever.
Yeah.
You put a certain amount in your 401k, your HSA, and then it just at the end of the year, the government takes what they're going to take.
Yeah.
And when you own your own business, it really is amazing how much. Even I talk to my own accountant, and I'm completely ethical about it. And they say, well, you can handle this 7 different ways.
Yes.
How you could expense that or deal with that. And so once you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, it is interesting how then you buy a business and you find out that. I don't want to say there's anything unethical going on, but it's different than what was.
Yeah, everybody has their own philosophy.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been at this a long time. We've all been at this a long time, right? I feel like if you own a business, there's an element of I am justified in this because corporate America gets away with crazy tax breaks, like stupid tax breaks. And here we are, small business owners, and we're paying 10 times that, 15 times that, literally. Yeah. And so there's that feeling of, you know what? I am going to write that off.
I need to get my piece.
That's right. It is legitimate.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not.
It's not.
Is it though?
I think so.
Do you think the IRS said we kind of want people to decide where they land on this?
No, but okay. Look, I'm not talking about anything unethical, but I am saying, if you own a business and you want to pass through a capital expense that you could normally write off of your personal checking account, but you can legitimately use that as a tax deduction through your business, hell yes.
Sure.
I'm taking it.
Yeah.
I'll always take it.
I know I'm preaching to the choir, but so the Supreme Court long time ago said that it is legal and it is a right to avoid taxes, but it is illegal to evade taxes, right? So what I think that happens with business owners is you have stuff like, let's say that somebody owns a retail store and they have to drive back and forth between their store and a supplier to pick up supplies.
Yes.
Boom. They just decided to write off the cost of their car.
Sure.
But what if they send an employee? They're not going to reimburse them for an entire car.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're the owner, you get more out of your money because you can do that.
Oh, yeah.
It is legal to
course.
the extent that I know anything about the law.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tax attorney as a daughter. She would probably disagree with some of the things I'm about to say.
Need to get her on. We need to put her on speed dial during our podcast.
Yeah, just so we can ask her tax questions.
Absolutely. That's too funny. But I would agree with that. So what is the name of the business in Broad Ripple? Did you say?
It's called Select Sewing. I did not say.
Select Sewing.
Select Sewing, yeah. And it is a sewing machine and fabric store. It wasn't a fabric store when I bought it, but most sewing machine stores also sell fabric, and so we added fabric very shortly after.
So are you selling new sewing machines, or are you refurbishing, or both? Or?
We sell new sewing machines. We take trade-ins, and so then we resell the used sewing machines. It's a dealership model, kind of like Honda or Toyota.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're interested, I can get into like why I wanted to buy it.
No, I'm really interested because sewing machines. I'm sure our audience and myself would be like, sewing machines? Really?
Yeah. Why is that interesting?
Yeah. Why?
So, I mean, the sewing industry, quilting, which is just one part of sewing. You'd use a sewing machine. You can do embroidery. You can make clothes like garment sewing. You can do upcycling, which is really popular right now, where you go to Goodwill, you buy an old hoodie, right, and then you embroider something on it. You cut the sleeves off. You kind of make it your own, which is really huge with the Generation Z. Or you can quilt. And quilting is a $5 billion industry annually. Wow. So it's actually huge. And a lot of younger folks are actually getting into it. People think of quilting, well, my grandma made me a quilt and I really like it, but surely that whole thing just died with grandma, right? Well, my current customer is primarily female, 50 plus, but there are tons of younger people that are coming in, especially post-COVID, where it's all about uniqueness. It's all about the upcycling. I took this hoodie and I made it my own. People just don't want cookie cutter stuff. I say people, young folks in like their 20s do not want cookie cutter stuff. They want to say like, this is mine.
Yeah. And so us old people do want cookie cutter stuff. I want to look like everybody else if possible.
You do a good job. Black t-shirt, jeans, Adidas shoes. You fit right in.
There you
perfect.
Go. But yeah, so it's actually a really cool industry, and a lot of people don't realize that sewing machines, they range from, our cheapest sewing machine is $300, and we have a number of sewing machines that are $25,000. And so people don't realize that, they have screens the size of iPads, they're touch screens, they embroider, they quilt, they do everything you would want to need. You can design your own stitches, you can download embroidery software and do your own embroidery designs, and then just Wi-Fi send it to the machine and then embroider it on something. And so it really is, we call them makers, sewists, seamstress is out, but sewists and makers are in. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun.
So it's the ist that's okay, but the S is not so much anymore.
Right.
Is that what you got? Is that what you got out of that?
Yeah. And just trying to see how politically correct we have to be with the sewing industry. So how many $25,000 sewing machines do you sell?
We're doing well when we're selling 1 to 2 of those a month.
Okay.
And then we also have events like every year. Like I mentioned, the dealership model. So the manufacturers come out with, the next line every year. They replace, each manufacturer has probably about 15 machines, including some sergers, which is a different type of sewing machine, all the way up then from like really inexpensive mechanical sewing machines all the way up to these super expensive embroidery machines. And so every year they're rotating out like 3 of them with some new models and constantly evolving. So then we have like launch parties and stuff. And so then we might sell a couple of $25,000 machines at a launch party also.
So one of the guys you're talking to actually owns an embroidery company.
You do?
Oh,
I do.
Okay.
I do.
And do you sell to, B2B companies like that?
We don't sell what would be truly called industrial machines, but we sell what we call semi-industrial.
Yep. Okay.
So what we'll sell is we have multi-needle machines that go up to 10 needles, so they can do all these different colors at once instead of just one color at a time and switching it out.
Yep.
And those machines will typically sell to somebody who is trying to start like a side hustle.
Yep.
They'll do baby showers where they embroider on the spot. It's almost like a DJ, right? Only they show up and embroider, or they'll do bachelor parties or weddings and that kind of thing. And we'll sell to a lot of those guys.
Yep.
But yeah, folks like Michael who have like an actual embroidery company, they would buy industrial machines, and that's not us. We really are a hobby shop.
Yeah.
We have classes to teach people how to sew. We hold lots of classes in our classroom.
Everything you're saying resonates with me right now. We have Katie, who joined our business Q4 of last year. She's a West Coast girl, went to school on the East Coast, graduated, and came to work for us. She's exactly what you're talking about. She's got an old vintage sewing machine that she repurposed and put it all back together. She loves to multi-purpose material, which is a huge thing. Mm-hmm. There's a woman in the Stutz building that's got an enormous business where she's creating these one-off garments, and the pants are selling for $800. I mean, it's just, and it's
for just like basically artwork. She's custom making something.
It's like she made like these cowgirl pants and used some different fabrics and put it all together, and it's a collage.
Yeah.
And it looks super cool, but $800? It's like, wow.
Well,
but her whole store's like that.
But it's literally one of a kind.
It's a one-off, right?
So, I mean, imagine like a high-end pair of jeans could be $800.
Right.
Not that those are the ones that I try to stay under $5.
Yeah, I know.
But
yeah. You do come to mind when I hear this, because it does one of two things. I'm either buying really high quality, something that's going to last forever, so I don't have to buy many of them. I can just buy one or two, or I'm going to buy something really unique. It's a one-off.
And this is the unique.
Yeah. And
his
Katie's
customer.
22 years old. I mean, she is exactly what you're talking about.
We'll send her to your store.
Oh, yeah. I will.
She needs a new machine.
She needs to get a part that she's struggling with, so I have no idea if you can help her, but I will send her your way.
He's got her taken care of. Don't worry about that.
I'm curious, though, sewing machines. How many, not your numbers, but on average, nationally, a shop sells how many sewing machines? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know revenue wise, it's typical to do $1 million a year in revenue. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, okay.
I didn't even know you were selling. I didn't even know there was a place for them. I'm sorry, Daniel.
So if you invested in real estate over the years, why did you decide to switch to a model where you have employees and moving parts?
A couple of reasons. One, and I still wanted to stay passive. So I think of real estate as being almost completely passive.
Yeah.
And I think of this business as being mostly passive.
Mm-hmm.
I have a store manager that runs things. And so I'm really just trying to be more of like the business person, right? You mentioned I've sat in a ton of different C-suites.
Yeah.
So I wanted to combine all of that.
Yeah.
And have something that I could say was mine, where I was the final authority and the boss, but where I could treat my employees the way I wanted to be treated, wanted to treat employees. Like I pay weekly. That's just something that's always been a dream of mine, is to pay weekly.
Interesting.
Just
that's
little things like
payroll
that.
costs, just so you know. But it's a write-off. Don't worry.
But it's worth it to me. And it's a write-off. Yes. But little things like that like to somebody would be like, who cares whether you pay weekly or bi-weekly, right? Or who cares what kind of paper towels are in the bathroom? Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to just know that I get to decide what kind of paper towels are in the bathroom. Yeah. Even though I'm only there like 2 or 3 hours a week. Yeah. And so having that kind of a little bit less passive business, and obviously in the end, or it may not come as a surprise, that I wanted to make more money. And so the more passive you are with the real estate that you're going on, what's your cap rate and what's your carrying costs, and you're basically making thin margins off of the rent. And so I wanted to go somewhere where I could maybe take something and truly grow. I mean, you can improve a single family residence and make it maybe worth slightly more, maybe $50 more a month. Versus if I could take this business that had been declining for 5 years and take it off the hands of these people retiring and turn it around and put a bunch of digital marketing into it and AI and all of that stuff, which I'm doing. That's the dream, right? Is that you make it quite a bit bigger. Yeah.
So you feel like the delta is bigger for that. Okay.
Right.
So there's a store in Broad Ripple, and it sounds like there might be a store in Franklin.
Why do you say that?
Because he's
going to open one now.
I should expand.
Well, for some reason, I did think it was Franklin.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
But
Broad Ripple, Franklin, they're similar.
And that brings up an interesting thing that I'm going through right now is, should I move? Because I'm technically in Glendale, like right on the line of Broad Ripple.
Yeah.
And so I say Broad Ripple because people don't generally know where Glendale is. And most people know in the Indianapolis area know where Broad Ripple is.
Yeah.
Well, we used to know Glendale when the mall was there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
But notice it's not there anymore.
I've noticed.
Defunct.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I've been actually trying to think through as a business owner is, I'm trying to turn this thing around, get it really profitable. And one of the things that keeps me up at night is I worry that what if I'm barely making it and moving is what would completely take off the charts, right?
Right.
And so, I talked to a commercial real estate agent and was not super helpful. They just wanted to sell me some space and didn't really want to do a lot of analysis.
Yeah.
But so I just went to AI, right? And I said,
was just going to
act as a commercial real estate agent, as an expert, compare, because there's a place in West Carmel that my wife and I looked at. And so I said, here's the address of where I'm thinking about moving to. Here's the address of where I am now. Use everything you know about commercial real estate and my business and tell me, act as an expert commercial real estate agent and tell me whether I should move or not. And the answer was just like hard yes, like you should absolutely move. Because that area, the Glendale Mall is defunct.
It is.
And so, and I was talking to a friend of mine who owns another franchise. And he said, we know exactly where to place a store. Like we need X number of households within 10 minutes of the store where the household income is X dollars and greater, right? And he had like a formula, right?
Yep.
And so I was just basically asking AI, like, do the same thing for my business.
Yeah. Right.
And it was like, absolutely, like you should move to West Carmel. You should not be where you are now.
And when you're basing it on a formula, like I don't trust AI to give me the right answer necessarily. But if it can give me the right answer, validate why it's the right answer, and say, here's the formula, then I can feel pretty confident in what I'm learning from my chat friend. I have a friend named Claude, good friend of mine.
Mine's Grok. Do they talk to each other? I think they do.
Sometimes. They're not on speaking terms right now.
Not right now.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Hopefully that
Gemini
we can repair that relationship. But anyway,
I want to go back to what you were talking about location-wise.
Yeah.
That, without knowing anything about real estate, that would be a hands-down absolute, right? Just your demographic is in that area.
Right.
I mean, that is the area to be right now. The housewives that you described, the 22-year-old or 20-year-old kids that are living with their parents until they're 30 now. I mean, that's.
But then you have to factor in, okay, the business has been around for 73 years.
Yeah.
They've been in this location for 40 years of that.
That's why I think you're going to have a second store.
You're
going to have a second store.
That's another idea, right? Or could I get the landlord in the new location to let me do a pop-up concept for 3 months? I'm thinking about circling back to my commercial broker and asking the landlord that, because if I can do a pop-up store for 3 months and test the waters a little bit, like it's all about like mitigating risk, right? As an entrepreneur, and I'm thinking through if I have to sign this great big long lease, and I'm still in the turnaround phase, I don't know for sure how long this store is going to be in business. I hope for decades, but if not, and I've got a 5-10 year lease, I have to deal with that. So there's a lot of factors.
Depending upon where you live, you could always add an extension onto your house and create the store. That's a whole nother segue. Anyway, sorry. You were going to say
permitting process.
Yeah, for sure. You look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I probably was going to say something.
You forgot.
What do you think it was?
I don't know.
So
I said about kids living at home until they're 30, and you went like you were about to say something.
I don't know. Listen, I was thinking about your store.
Okay.
And if I was to start a sewing store, I would call it Wild Oats.
Oh, here comes the marketing.
Because then you can sow your wild oats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a big
that's
idea.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to give you that for free.
How long have you been sitting on that one? Did that just come to you, or have you been sitting on that?
No, all these things just come to me.
Yeah, I knew it.
So
we're not paying for time.
So we're going to keep talking about how you've gone from totally passive. And of course, I know you had a full-time job for a while. I don't know if are you working anywhere full-time in addition to some of your entrepreneurial investments?
I'm actually looking for full-time still right now.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm doing a bunch of fractional CIO and COO work.
Okay. So your entrepreneurial investment or your pursuits have gone from fully passive to only kind of passive, because you do have to do, even if it is able to be contained in a finite amount of time, you do have to deal with those stresses that you're talking about. Did you Do you wake up with anxiety now because of this business?
Oh, sure.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I don't. It's one of those things where I don't feel like it accomplishes much, and I could talk for hours just about anxiety and stress management.
I want to hear about it.
But it's interesting. There's a couple of ways you deal with it. One is you try to prepare as best as you can. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan. I have almost no debt.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of cushion. And so that helps a lot. Like I can't imagine if I was like trying to figure out how I'm going to make payroll. Like if we, if we're going to lose money, there are months, we lose money, months we make money right now. Hopefully we can turn that to where every month makes money. But on the months we lose money, I don't even like worry about that because there's just enough cushion. And if I were living paycheck to paycheck or whatever, payroll to payroll, and we've all heard stories of entrepreneurs that, and that would be mortifying. That'd be hard.
I want to come back to that, by the way. When you finish that thought, because I want to throw something at you. But so you've got cushion.
So there's cushion, and you try to plan for those stressors, but then there's also just there are constant reminders that like what is this stress accomplishing me?
Yeah.
Right. If somebody's attacking me, that's great. Your body's designed for the cortisol or whatever, the adrenaline to rush, right? So you can like protect yourself.
Fight or flight.
But exactly. But the fact that should I have launched this sale and should I be spending $45 a day on this specific ad on Meta or $36 a day on this specific ad on Meta? I start worrying about that, and then I just think that there's just no value in worrying about that. That doesn't help me at all.
Yeah, you've already done it.
How do you escape that worry? If people don't decide, hey, I think I'm going to be anxious today.
Right.
Like, how do you deal with it?
I think part of it is name it, like identify it and name it, and just say, okay, I'm clearly stressed about this decision, and then think through, does it really have an effect? I mean, I've got a couple different, personal like techniques that I use. One that I think of like the lookout, like if you've ever, hiked the Appalachian Trail or been up in the Rockies or whatever in Utah or Colorado, right? And you just get this incredible perspective. And so anytime you can do that, like if I'm thinking about how much I spent on this Meta ad or whether this person called in sick or whatever, right? Or whether this person's replaceable, like what if they quit? I have this incredible store manager. Every once in a while I'll find myself just like panicking, like what if she just resigns tomorrow? How would we ever find a store manager as good as her, right?
Yeah.
And then I just think, I found her, and in the grand scheme of things, right, that lookout, like if I could actually see over the mountain range or whatever, look down over it all, and in the grand scheme of things, is anyone going to die if my store manager quits? No.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's those types of techniques that help me.
Okay, so the lookout method, which I'll frame it as you get a big picture view. You can see the obstacle, but you can also see around it in some way, if I can summarize it.
Yeah.
So what else? What's another method?
What's another method? There was actually one that I used that came from a book, and I wish I could reference the book and the author, but I can't right now. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I just read a lot of books, but and he had a couch counting strategy. How many like if the absolute worst case scenario happened and I lost everything, how many couches, like how many friends, family do I have that have couches that they would let me sleep on?
Okay, yeah.
So
I've got a lot.
And so that's another one that's kind of.
And I have 2 couches.
I know.
So
I'm counting you. I got you.
I'm reserving one. But even there, like there are folks who are truly homeless, destitute, right? They have 0 couches, right? And that's terrible. I'm not anywhere close to that. I could probably pretty quickly come up to 30 or 40 couches.
Of your own.
Of my own, like across my friends and family that would help me out.
One of those rental properties might have a couch you can snag.
There you go.
If somebody's late on the rent, hey, we're taking all your furniture too. So just throwing it in there.
Yep. So that's another one that I use. Another one that I think about, this is a little bit corny, I guess. I call it the baby carrier. And I'm a Christian. I believe that God holds me in his hands, basically, that he has everything under control. And I think about, and I have 9 kids. We haven't even talked about that yet. But
whoa, you've got a baseball team?
Yes.
Holy moly! I'm sorry. Go on.
And so anyway, I've carried a ton of baby carriers, and I always think about that sleeping baby when I'm carrying a baby in a baby carrier, and how incredibly safe they feel because they're sleeping, right? And so they just know they're protected, they're secure, like nothing is gonna mess with them
Yeah.
because, right, if they were scared, they'd cry, right?
Yeah.
But they're asleep in the baby carrier because I've got them. And so it sounds kind of corny, but I literally imagine myself in this baby carrier that God's just holding.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, I'm safe. I have nothing that I have to worry about, whether it's cancer or financial distraught or whatever it is. It's he's still holding me.
Yeah.
And I can just sleep if I want.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's a pretty, that's one that I go to every once in a while. That's the one, it sounds sunny. That's the one I do at like 1 a.m. when I wake up and I just can't get back to sleep because I'm stressed.
Yeah.
And I'll just imagine myself I'm just in this baby carrier and I can just go back to sleep because he's holding it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's
cataloging these, the second one is worst case scenario type thing where you look at what is the worst case scenario. And in that worst case scenario, you even have a solution there. And that's the couch counting method. And then the third one is just, there's greater providence than my little problems. Right.
Yeah. Security within faith.
Yeah.
Right.
So, do you ever do anything like meditating or something like a physiological exercise?
A prayer is one. I've also done some of the breathing exercises, like the box breathing, 5 seconds all the way around the box.
I like that.
Those kinds of things can be helpful.
Wait, tell me about the box.
The box breathing is where you just you breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds.
Oh yeah,
hold
yeah.
For 5
I have
seconds.
heard of that.
You just keep going around the box.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It works. It helps you sleep too.
Yeah, I mean, it really does
rest-
lower your blood pressure, lower your heart rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you consider yourself? I think everybody's got their setting that's normal for them, and I'm not asking you to incriminate yourself or anything, but would you consider yourself a high anxiety person, low anxiety, or somewhere else?
I would say I am naturally bent towards lower anxiety. That I can handle a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is probably just how I was born. And also part of that is having been at the executive level for a long time.
Experience.
I've walked into, I don't know how many board meetings or executive meetings where a project isn't done. And I know I'm about to answer for that or whatever it is.
It's like when you live at high altitudes for a long time, you experience the same thing that everybody else does, except for it's annoying to you. So we started out the afternoon by talking about a commercial I just filmed out in the West. And so my wife and I were up in high altitudes and you don't, at least for us, we didn't notice anything right away. But if we had to bend over and pick stuff up, you feel that lightheadedness for a little bit. And to, sort of as an analog to your executive suite, concept is when you've been exposed to that thin air for long enough, you are adapted to it and you can handle it. And same thing with the potential stressors that come with leadership. Yeah,
very true. Good illustration.
We had a client that came in, and we haven't seen her in forever. They've done business with us a long time. It's a women-owned business, and she shared with us. We were just catching up. We hadn't seen each other in a really long time, and it was ironic in a lot of ways. But she called and said, "Hey, I'm out in front of your shop. Can I come in? I need to buy a blouse." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have anything." She said, "I've got a meeting. I spilled something on my blouse. I don't have anywhere else to go." I said, "Come on in." So we buzz her in. She comes in, and sure enough, she finds a blouse. And I'm like, "So how's business?" And we sat there and we talked. She shared something with me that totally caught me off guard. Right before the pandemic hit, she thought they were going out of business. I mean, they really tried everything.
You want to name the type of business?
I don't, because I think she's going to come on the podcast. So I'm going to keep this a mystery for the moment. Here's the important part of this. I said, "What happened?" And she said, "I realized that the only thing holding me back is my fear of failure. And when I said to myself and my husband, screw it, let's put everything we have in it, like cash out everything, 401k, all the security blankets that we all carry." And when she said, and when we did that, everything turned around. Wow. I said, "What do you mean it turned around? Like you turned around or the business turned around?" She said, "Everything. Like I slept better. I had more focus. The business literally turned around." And I said, "What?" And so we sat there for a half hour talking through it. Yeah. And I thought that was really fascinating for someone to say. someone my age that has tried and failed with different businesses that finally found it. And she did something that you're doing right now. They bought a piece of real estate over by Elanco. Hope I'm not giving this away. And they ended up renting some of that space out. And that's really what started to make the pivot. And then the business really started to take off because of their location, which you alluded to earlier. So location is important, obviously. But yeah, I just got a kick out of that. So to hear you talk about that, because I wake up, Daniel knows this, I wake up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll be sound asleep. Like I will have been dreaming. I wake up and it's the what if. And it's Armageddon. It's like, and I have to, the only way I find peace with it is to do what she said to me, which is, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Right.
And you mentioned that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really not that bad.
Yeah. They call that maintenance insomnia, and that's what I have. Onset insomnia is where you can't get to sleep.
Yes.
Maintenance insomnia is where you wake up and you can't get back to sleep. And I deal with that pretty bad. Yeah.
I'm with you on that too.
Yeah.
And especially in that boardroom level activity. I've been there. I've lived and breathed that. People are looking for answers. They're looking to blame. They're looking to take you out. No one's looking to build you up in those meetings. Everyone's looking to take somebody down.
Yeah, they want to take your job.
They do. They do.
Some of them want to take your job. The other one wants, I don't know.
Yeah, well, So when you said that, I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Take your credit.
Absolutely.
Take your job or take your credit. That's
both.
The difference. The person above you wants to take credit.
That's right.
The person
exactly
below
right.
you, they want to take credit for the good things.
That's
only.
right.
The person below
That's
you,
right.
they want to take your job.
And the person beside you sees it as zero sum. So if you look good, they must look bad. So they
Exactly.
gotta
That's
stop that.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Spot on.
I'm glad we've completed that picture.
Everyone, can you put a flow chart on that for us?
Yeah,
later?
we'll publish a flow chart with the episode.
I want to hear about 9 kids. Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's a baseball team. How old are these kids?
9 kids. Yeah. My oldest is 28. My youngest is 11.
Oh, my God.
No twins or anything. Just every 2 years for 18 years.
You guys just said this is what we're doing every 2 years, honey. We're doing this.
I mean, it's
Did you plan ahead?
so.
I think I've asked you this before, but I don't remember the answer.
I'll give you the fairly short version of the story. So before we had kids, we had a bunch of friends at church who were having like vasectomy reversals and stuff like that because they had like 2 or 3 and then did something permanent. And then they were trying to reverse it because they didn't want to stop at 2 or 3 after all. And so
you're like, don't worry, we got this.
And so we just
hold my communion wine.
So we just kind of made a pact, like we're never going to do anything permanent until our youngest is 5, right? So we won't do anything like right after a birth.
Yeah.
And then we just never made it to 5.
You never got there. You just never got there.
Yes. Yep.
Now, did you even just was there any degree of planning to each kid, or was it just nature takes its course?
Pure
Pretty much,
happenstance.
nature takes its course. I mean, let it happen because, like I said, we wanted more, and after each one, we would just be like, "Do you want it more?"
Okay,
yeah.
so after the 5th one, did you go? Maybe we should.
I think
maybe
we messed
should
up
think
here.
about that, or maybe the 6th or 7th, where you said
almost the opposite. It was like the second or third that we were like, well, should we be done? This is when everybody else stops.
Right.
By the time you're like 5th, it's like you're pot committed, right? Like we love this. Let's just keep
you're
going,
already
right?
outnumbered.
right, exactly.
Did your wife look at you at one point in time and said, "Hey, man, enough"?
She was. If anything, she was just as much on board.
No
or more.
kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's a born mom, and now she's a CASA, so she helps with the foster system.
Yeah.
We're in
I
the
have a client
process.
that does that work.
Okay, yeah.
You're probably working with them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And so she does that. She's an amazing person. She helps with the store. She's the creative side of our partnership. I'm the business. She's the creative. And so,
That's so cool.
That is really cool. So, my parents had 12 kids. I have 11 brothers and sisters, and I have no idea if they how they strategized around this, but they just kept going.
Yep.
And then eventually,
He's got a baseball team, and you had a football team with the reserve.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Eventually, the last one almost killed my mom and the brother being born.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
so I think that was at least part of the strategy for stopping.
Stop.
Plus, a dozen is a
Sure.
good round number.
When we were
in a
kids
sense.
growing up, Catholic school, almost every family no family had less than 4.
Mm-hmm.
So the Curzons had 11, the Zenins had 9 or 10. Salome's had 4, right? I mean, that was low. Everyone else is fielding professional teams. It's crazy.
Why didn't you carry on the tradition?
I don't know why I think my parents, after my brother was born, were like, no more. And then my youngest sister was born, and they were like, no way, we're done. Like, we're running a restaurant. We have 4 kids. What's going on here?
So I did the opposite. I got a vasectomy at 22 years old, and I have never regretted it. Yeah.
At 22, you were done.
I was either 22 or 23, and maybe so when I'm talking to the doctors, they're like trying to talk me out of it. The doctor and nurse and whoever is like
you're
the consultants on
22
this.
years old.
They're like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Yep, absolutely." And they did not believe me, and they're like, "Okay, I mean, your insurance covers it. We're going to get paid, whatever."
Let's get Carrie in here and make sure.
And so then I'm on the table, and they're like, this is still, your last chance.
No going back.
And I said, "I'm good. Let's do it." And then the nurse walks in. She's a little nervous. I said, "You ever seen anything like that?" No response. So, yeah.
No, we have not. And nor will we ever again. 22, though. Wow, that's young.
Yeah.
That's
and I haven't regretted it.
I know you haven't. There's no real reason to live life with regret, right? I mean, just go forward. If you feel like you've messed up with whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You move on. I mean, I think that's becoming more prevalent in my life today, by the way, just side note.
Okay.
Where you look at where you are, and then someone comes in from your past, and they make you turn around to see something, right? It could be a friend, it could be anything. And you take a moment and you pause and you look back there. And I've seen some friends that have done this lately that get caught. They get caught going backwards, not just looking. They look backwards and they're like, I'm going to go that direction. And it's like, there's nothing good there. That's
Help me
all in the
understand what
past.
you're saying.
It could be...
we used to do more of this.
Yeah, here's a great example. A friend someone reached out from his past, a relationship from 20 years ago, looks backwards, love you, care for you, always have, always will. Maybe his current relationship isn't that good. Looks backwards and, hey, that looks pretty good.
Things were great back then.
Right. But it was 20 years ago.
Right.
No one's the same 20 years later, right?
Right.
So, you have these conversations and you're like, dude, there's nothing there. There's a reason it's behind you and it's not in front of you. And I think that relates to everything in life. Friendships, your businesses, your children, everything's in front. On my drive over here, I was talking with my mother, and she's kind of frustrated because one of her grandchildren, her only grandchild, she has 9 of these kids, lives in New York and has this beautiful baby, got married 2 years ago. And we FaceTime. And there's a FaceTime almost every day, if not every other day, like a 20 people FaceTime thing that goes on.
Cool.
And I said, hey, man, you should just be happy that you have that. Like, be thankful for that. And she said, yeah, but. And I said, yeah, no, don't do that. There is no yeah, but. Look forward. Don't look to what could be or what was. And as I said that to her, I was thinking about myself, like, I need to do that more. Like, it's easy to say, but it's so hard to practice. And business, right? I mean, you and I, how many times have we looked backwards going, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I wish I wouldn't have done that, right?
Yeah, well, just the other day, in fact, it's come up more than a few times recently, but yesterday was the most recent time that somebody said, I really liked that office back when my company had a certain office space. Yeah. We had this space on Meridian that was at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah.
Hard Rock Cafe.
Yes, upstairs.
Yeah.
I loved that space.
Okay, today's the most recent time. And so basically, so many people have reminded me of those golden years of my business, people that were either clients or just friends of mine. And I sit there and think, yeah, I really liked it too. And I liked the office. I liked the energy that our team felt, we were just at a point of starting to feel the success.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself exactly what you said. You can look back fondly, but you can't look back.
Right.
You can't let it
You can't
slow
go
you down.
back to it.
You can't let it slow you down and distract you from the fact that it's the past and you
Help
got to
me
look
out here
forward.
for a second. Was that right after the Stutz, or was there another stop in
It
between?
was after the Stutz.
I remember.
Yeah.
Daniel, I remember going in that office, and I think there was like all on the same floor, but multi-floor, right?
Yeah, it was multi-level because
Multi-level,
we
that's
actually
it.
built.
Yeah.
Our team did it. We built a riser.
That's right.
So that we could create some dimension and separation between like the bullpen.
That's what made it so cool.
Yeah,
I remember walking in there going, "Oh, your space is so cool."
Yeah, I we had a good time there.
Yeah.
But now this is my space, so we got to move forward, guys. We got to stay
always
focused.
looking forward. So let's talk about looking forward for a second. So 9 kids, multi-business is looking for some full-time work. It sounds like, right? Because you can never feed. You never have enough to feed 9 kids.
Well, tell us how many you have at home right now.
So I have, let's see, my daughter just moved out 2 weeks ago, so I'm down to 7 left.
Okay, but they never really
7.
leave, do they?
So yes.
So how old's
28's the oldest.
28's the oldest, then
Every 2 years.
26
and
then
24.
24 and 22. Yep. So the 22. So I have 1 girl and 8 boys.
Okay.
The girl is the 5th born, so she's the middle. She has 4 older brothers and 4 younger brothers. She's 20. She just moved out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or a week ago.
But the older boys are
And then
still there.
The next older one above her, the 22-year-old boy, has moved out and is married and lives in Evansville.
Okay.
And so I have the 3 oldest boys are still living with us for various reasons. So my oldest has autism.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I remember
My
that.
second oldest is cognitively impaired and operates about the level of a 3-year-old.
Okay.
He's 26. And then my third is 24, and he is basically just a physical workaholic. That's a weird way to say that, but anyway, he put himself through college working at Papa John's and UPS, and then he got a degree in accounting, and then said, "I have no desire to work in an office," and so he still just works at Papa John's and UPS, and just socks away money and lives with us.
Wow.
So he just
Interesting.
loves working and
Has no desire to go out
Yeah.
and be on his own when he's just going to be at the office anyway, or not
Right.
the office, the
Well, it is
the
office.
kitchen.
It's
Right.
the kitchen.
his
Yes.
office.
Yeah,
Right,
it's the
right.
kitchen.
That's
the
wild.
office.
That's an interesting character. What's he like? Is he funny? What's his personality?
his personality. No, he's like really rigid. Like,
I was going to say, based on the way you described, I
Yeah.
would expect that.
Yep. Yeah, he like helped me work. We're getting ready for my 6th child's graduation open house this Sunday, and so my 3rd, the one we're talking about, was out helping me replace a bunch of boards in the deck and like just really trying to clean up the whole place and doing a bunch of fix up. And he looked like disgusting, and I'm like, "You might want to go in and take a shower." And he's like, "No, I take a shower in the morning before I go to work."
Yeah, I don't do it any other time.
That was
That's
a
the
dumb
plan.
thing to say, Dad. 'Cause
Yeah.
Why would I take a shower?
Why would
I do
take
that in
2
the mornings.
showers?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like not possible. So
All right,
he's very rigid, but almost in kind of an endearing, comical way.
You're amongst
So-
friends, so you can tell us the truth. Do you get the names mixed up ever?
Oh yes, oh yes. I was one of 2, and my dad would conflate our names when he was frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to go through like 5 or 6 to get to the right kid.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'd be just. It doesn't matter. Just listen to me.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, I would. I have a hard time with 19 nieces and nephews, and I'm only with 6 or 7 at a time. So yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So with your kids, one of the things that I noticed with mine as they got older, because your youngest is 11 now, so they're starting to show adult characteristics if they're not already adults. Did you ever see when they were young that there were certain characteristics that showed themselves, and that the adult versions, it just reminds you that they're exactly the same person they always were?
Oh yeah.
Like I have one daughter who has a very charismatic personality. She loves making friends, but she hates following rules. And then I have, so she's very rigid and very not rigid in the way that you described your son, but like very headstrong. And then I have another one who is sort of a introvert type of personality, where she focuses on, she's the one that's an attorney. She's like studies a lot and loves school. almost married, school, and at one point it turns out that's not legal. But like they're just very different, and when they fight, one's loud, one's quiet, and so did you see that kind of stuff with your kids?
Oh yeah, I mean we have one that it was just like super easygoing, super obedient, and just you could just say we're going for ice cream, and then the ice cream store's closed, and he'd be like, okay. And that's literally what he is now. He's a consultant now doing data engineering, and that's part of what makes him a great consultant is his clients just say, like,
this is what it is.
It had to be this way yesterday, but now I hate that. Change it. And he'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I have other kids that when they were little, you'd show up to the ice cream shop and it was closed, and it was just like a meltdown for the entire rest of the day, unsurvivable.
Yeah.
And then it's like, as an adult, it's just like, how am I going to get through this? This is horrifying. This is the same kind of stuff.
I can relate. It's an ice cream shop. I mean, it's meltdown worthy.
Yeah,
I'd like to get some ice cream.
I want to change.
We need to do ice cream podcast, by the way, just so you know.
Oh.
You want to bring someone on? I may have someone for ice cream.
Bring him in.
I like it. I want to change gears. Can we change gears for a second?
You're one of the hosts. You get to decide.
Well, I just want to make sure you're okay with it. Let's talk World Cup and politics for a quick second.
Okay.
Did you watch any of the World Cup? Either of you?
I watched 0 games.
Okay. Any?
Matches.
I watched the end of the U.S. game and the end of a few other games, but not a ton.
Got it. The U.S. game is the one I'm most curious about. Are you aware of what happened to the previous game before our last game?
Yes.
With the red card.
I'm aware of the red card and the president intervening.
And the irony of all of that is that the red card player didn't do diddly poo in the final game. And I thought, what the heck? From a fan, I was absolutely elated to find out he was being reinstated for the game.
Yeah.
Because I thought the red card was BS.
Yeah.
And we can all agree, or maybe not all, but most of us around the world agree that FIFA is one of the most corrupt organizations, second only to the Olympic International Committee. This is a known fact.
Okay. I believe you, but I don't know enough.
I understand. That's why I'm sharing this with you.
Thank you.
So we know it's corrupt. And it was proven when a president can make a phone call to the president of the FIFA to change the rules that have never, ever in the history of World Cup been changed, ever.
Right. You know what's hilarious about the way that went down is the one thing that I do watch is politics.
I know, that's why I bring it up.
And he is in an interview, and Donald Trump likes to joke around a lot. He's a funny guy.
Is he?
It depends on your perspective, but yeah, I think he's a jokester. I think I bet you if he wasn't the president, we would just think of him as a funny guy.
Yeah.
And other features of him.
Yeah.
But when somebody becomes the president, then you've got half the people hate him, half the people like him, and so on. So he is doing a press conference, and it wasn't even about the FIFA thing, but that comes up because that's what he wants to bring up. And he ends up talking about how if, we're telling them they need to put him back in and it's going to be a great game. And if we lose, just like the election, we'll just say it was rigged. and when he says that, it's I can sit there and say, I get it. It was a joke. But I also acknowledge that he's the president of the United States and you can't trust anything he says.
No.
So, but he basically gave away that he was bullshitting about the whole election rigging thing the whole time.
Yes.
Or he's just bullshitting now because everybody thinks he was bullshitting.
He's not. I don't give him that much credit. But okay, so stay with me. A few days later, the following week, on Monday, did you see what he did? This is funny about Dell.
Yes. But that's where that conversation took place.
Oh, there you go.
That's
that
exactly
makes
the
sense.
one.
Go buy
and
Dell
then
computers.
Susan Dell
during
has
the
gone
Trump
viral
account.
because of her. Susan Dell has gone viral because she had weird looks on her face and she's had some plastic surgery. So now everybody's talking about on the memes, everybody's talking about how she doesn't look right anymore, and they'll show you these side by sides and saying, look, she was pretty here and now she looks crazy here. There must be a malpractice lawsuit. And I said, okay, this one's from 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So she's 62 now. Do you think somebody looks different between when they're 42 and 62? So 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. Not
yes,
you.
I think you and I will look the same, but I think that when somebody ages 20 years, more than likely they're going to look a little different.
Yeah, they are.
Sure.
So just averages, of course.
Yeah. Which brings up this conversation is going to be all over the map. Recently, yesterday, I had breakfast with a dear friend of mine, and we were catching up, and we were having a conversation about someone that we both know that has had recent plastic surgery. Or filler. I don't even know what you call this
Botox
stuff.
or something?
Botox, but more than that.
Okay, yeah.
It almost looks clownish, right? And sometimes I said to him, I wonder if that particular person catches me looking at them with whatever that look is that's on my face, like, man, that doesn't look right, or that doesn't look good. And if they understand that I'm thinking that, or do they just think, what's wrong with you? Are you constipated? What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? But they never say anything.
Yeah.
And I've got to believe if you do that stuff and you look in the mirror, you've got to know that you look clownish, right? Don't you think?
What do you think about that, Ryan?
That's a
I can't.
interesting
If you've
topic.
had plastic surgery, it doesn't show.
Yeah,
by the
no,
way.
you look great, by the way.
That's what I thought. You were either constipated or really unhappy with my plastic surgery this whole time.
Well, you've had back surgery. It's close.
Yeah, it's practically the same
Honestly,
thing.
actually, I have noticed that too, and I try to give folks like that grace.
Me too.
Because
Genuinely.
I assume there might be some level of what's that called, dysphoria or dysmorphia. Yeah, that's what.
Something's not right internally.
It's possible that they think that looks really good, right?
Yes.
And that
Their view of themselves is different than maybe perhaps
Right.
your average person.
Right, and
sees.
so they might live in constant stress and anxiety that they're not thin enough or beautiful enough, and so they're doing those things. But I'm with you. Like, it's hard not to like do a double take or like not want to look at it because we're
and this is
the
a
way
person
we're
that's
designed is to like see features, and we think certain people are attractive and other things aren't attractive, and so we see that it's going to like attract attention. But I just that would be hard to be in that spot where you feel like you need to constantly do something more to like look good or whatever. That'd be really difficult.
When I was out in Los Angeles last week, and I've been there a number of times, there are all kinds of people that are getting plastic. It's just more common out there. Not that you don't see it here, obviously.
Sure.
And I saw a lady. We were in Target, and I saw a lady that basically looked like a cat. I mean, she had so much shaping and fillers and all this stuff to her face that she it was like just like broadened up at the upper cheeks and then narrow at the chin and tight in her eyes, and she looked very strange. And I think that what happens is people don't change that look overnight, because you would have, first of all, most good doctors aren't going to do that, but you would have this very jarring experience to wake up and see something totally different. But what happens is, I think exactly what you described, Ryan, is I think that somebody they're like a little unhappy with the bridge of their nose, and then they change one little thing, and they're like, well, now maybe the sides stick out too far. My nostrils flare, which is, I was born that way. It's fine, but I want to fix it. And so then they trim a little bit over here, and then eventually
it's not right.
It's all gone.
We rented the movie Michael, as in Michael Jackson, that just came out. And that nose piece is it's telling because he felt, at least the movie portrays Michael as wanting to be perfect because of his father, Joseph.
Interesting.
And there's a moment in time, and then the movie does a really good job of finding that timeline, where Michael gets trapped of not being able to be a child as a normal child and having to be this performer to support his entire family. Because the Jackson 5 were good, but it was Michael that really drove the bus.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the middle of all of that, Pete got his nose job. And it wasn't one, it was multiple. And it just became this need for perfection as an adult male who is trapped in wanting to be a child. So the grace period that you're talking about, couldn't agree with you more. I do want to come full circle with this, though. I do think people, and I don't want to categorize, but I do believe when you start moving in that direction, you're looking back. You're playing with the past. You're trying to fill something from then, now. It just doesn't work. It doesn't. And so you said something earlier that I really appreciated, and that is when you're outdoors, like to get rid of the stress, you can just get away from it all and just go for a walk or go for a hike or anything. You can find some peace with that. I wish we had more of that amongst all of us. You know, you and I talk about going for a bike ride or going and play around a golf, just to decompress and get away from everything. It's a great feeling, right? I don't think there's enough of that. And I certainly don't think there's enough of that with the youth today, specifically. And I just, you know, as I get older, I hate this. I end up thinking more about that, like the next generation or the generation after them, your kids. What's that going to be like for them? And will they find what we're talking about, or will they have more of what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I think
me
there
wonder.
are some people. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
please. You're
I think
good.
there are people. I think there are groups of people who are that's clicking for.
Yeah.
And I think it's at every age group. There are people that it clicks for and people that it doesn't. I mean, and I think about like Thomas Edison famously said, because he was an inventor, right? He invented more than the light bulb. He invented the toaster.
My goodness.
He invented a number of the dishwasher, I think. Yes. Or maybe I'm thinking of the clothes washer.
He's got over 100 inventions.
Yeah, lots of inventions. And he famously said, someday people will only have to work 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
Because he was thinking, right, that when you have all these things, it's going to save you all this time. And so you'll work 4 hours a week and to have all this extra free time, right? And he completely misunderstood in that particular quote, right? The human spirit is to have more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
Right? If I was comfortable with the car that my grandfather had where a heater was an option, right? And there was no air conditioning, right? That car could probably be manufactured today for, $2,000 and I could probably buy it for $4,000. And if I was okay with that, I probably could work 4 hours a week. But I want the standard of living where, I want my electric windows and my air conditioning and all my great stuff, my huge house compared to his house, right? And so, but I see that even with the pandemic, right? We all went to work from home and everybody said, oh, we're going to have like more time because there's no commute. Everybody just worked more hours because they just stayed at their desk till 7 when it was dinner time. Yes. And I just see that still happening now with AI. Everyone's we're going to need this universal basic income because no one's going to work. Well, I just sit for hours on AI now. Like that's my, some people like doom scroll. I just ask AI questions like day and night.
All the time.
I want to learn and consume and help me understand this. And so that's my fear is when do we just stop and just say, we're going to sit down on the deck and have a meal together and not look at our phones and just be humans.
Yeah.
And I think that takes just tons of intentionality. And like I said, every generation I see there's groups and pockets of people who kind of figure that out and put their phone down and take some time.
So Daniel and I go back and forth on this conversation in a good way. Do you think governments have a role in that with society, or do you think it's more, it has nothing to do with government trying to limit restrictions on children having access to?
I mean, I'm a diehard capitalist.
Yeah, me too.
Borderline libertarian, Republican, I don't want more government. Yeah. And so I do worry about some of these big, no social media till you're 16. I would rather that be more about parents and all of that stuff. Decide, I also am smart enough to recognize that we clearly have an emotional health epidemic, right?
Yeah, there's
the suicide rates and stuff like that. And the social media companies, they do purposely divide people. Because it feeds their algorithms.
Those
and
damn marketing companies.
There's advertisers and trying to get those one-line hooks that encapsulate a whole bunch of stuff in one line.
So many parts.
Yeah, I call bullshit on that one.
And so, so I do see that. So I'm not naive enough to just say there should be zero government involvement because I think that could just create.
Let me ask you a question on that topic.
Tough.
So. Before you walked in the door, we were talking about, it was sparked by some experience that Michael had this week, I think. I don't remember.
I don't either.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We were talking about some health insurance related. Oh, I remember what it came from. You were talking about the article I
The
linked to.
Yes.
So, so we were talking about the healthcare system and how there's challenges with the way that it works and doesn't work. So that spun into a conversation about the mix of socialism and capitalism that we have in the United States.
Sure.
So a lot of people are really turned off on the idea of a government run anything, and it's called socialism. And the idea of socialism is this thing that people have a distaste for, but they send their kids to public schools every day.
Right.
And there's two reasons why people might send their kids to public schools. One is because that's their only option, and the other is because they have all kinds of options, but that one's free. So what do you think about that type of thing, like public schools? Maybe start there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. So I mentioned like libertarian or Republican. Like to me, in a perfect in a fallen world,
fallen world, broken world.
Yeah, as perfect of a kind of government as you're going to get to me is regulated capitalism.
Okay.
So I'm not a libertarian in the sense of like no
purest
regulation,
sense.
even just I don't care if there's monopolies. I don't care if people
Yeah,
are
that's not
destroying
good.
other people.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
just unlimited, no rules kind of thing. Right. I'm not a libertarian in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I look back on our society, if we could have had all private schools, but some level of regulation, I think we would be better off than our current public school systems today.
And do you think it would have? Do you think that it's even possible though?
I don't. I mean, that takes you to the depths of like fire and police, right? Like, could that be truly just a private enterprise that's just regulated? Probably. But I'm willing to say I'm not smart enough to know for sure like how deep my capitalist beliefs could truly be taken.
Yeah.
But I do think that but prior to the Industrial Revolution, when everything was more, there were public schools prior to the Industrial Revolution, but we're talking about local level governments, right? No federal level, none of that. Not even really state level, because the state had no idea what was going on in rural Indiana in 1870 in their schools.
Yeah.
And so it really was basically private. And at that point, it's basically the parents saying, this is what we expect out of our schools.
Yeah.
And so if you could get to that level and still be like publicly funded, maybe, but I think what we have now, where we've basically nationalized our school systems, is not what's best for kids.
So what led me to kind of pulling away from, I at a time in my life had the exact same view, sort of semi-libertarian. I actually ascribed to the term libertarian, and then I started studying it more. And I'm not saying that I came to the right conclusion, but my conclusions tend to be better than other people's, but statistically speaking.
That's because it's you. We all acknowledge that.
But I think that the model that you talk about with schools, using that as an example, you have the families and local community saying this is what needs to happen for our kids, for my kids. I think that is the best case scenario. But in that scenario, you're also in a world where there is a disparity in communities in terms of an individual's capacity to make good decisions or their capacity to fund the thing. So what we had in
socioeconomic barriers,
not just money related, not just their own education related, any other number of reasons. And what you ended up having is you had a lot of illiterate people. And so then what the United States did to expand public education has lowered illiteracy rates by a tremendous amount, but it's also diluted some of the quality of some of the education. So I see that there's a trade-off, but my belief is that the perfect scenario is not possible. That's my
I don't
conclusion.
think it is either.
Yeah,
you don't have to look far to see.
But I agree with what you're calling the perfect scenario. I would like that too.
I don't think you have to look far to see what we're talking about. You can go north of the city. You can go to Carmel, Zionsville, Fishers. These are public schools that have they're community driven to be great schools, and they're recognized nationally. In the very same breath, you can head south to public schools that are nowhere on the radar, but there are social economic barriers that you just described that come into play that you cannot get to My brother Nicholas has taught at Warren Central for 24 years, maybe 25 years now. And he is always on record as saying, it doesn't have to be a great school. It has to have great teachers. And you can get the same education at Warren that you can get at Carmel, that you can get at Beech Grove or fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. And I do agree with that. But community, to your point, drives a really big piece of that. And when the community, to your point, Daniel, when it's broken or fractured, it gets a little scattered.
Well, it's harder to staff those inner city schools with good teachers because it's not as safe.
Correct.
For lots of reasons that I won't get into, but we know that crime is higher. We know that poverty is higher. We know that, when people have unstable homes, there's lots of ways that can play out in lifestyle. So
you're spot on.
But so I can see both the ways where the government should and can do something and where the government just has no power at all. So, for example, the federal government probably needs to say, hey, if we're going to succeed as a country in a competitive world, we should probably have more STEM education. Mm-hmm. And then they can create funding programs, create regulations or whatever that increases the possibilities of people getting into STEM related fields. Maybe on the local level, the state level should say, we need to make sure that each community has schooling and that it fits certain criteria that allows people to get stable jobs and make sure that our economy is stable in general. But then on the community level and family level, then you have, we have maybe certain types of jobs that are normal here, and we need to make sure that people can get those jobs. Or we have certain family values, and we need to make sure that our kids are able to participate in those values in their education and that sort of thing.
What's ironic about all of this is that there's no utopia. There's no perfect piece to this. But
this podcast is working on it. Don't worry about it.
But if you go to Europe and you look at what they're doing over there with their children, with their students, they're deciding where those kids are going before the kids know where they want to go, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not a big fan of that either.
Like as far as college type?
University, right? So Ryan, you excel in numbers, so we're gonna fast track you into the numbers program, mathematics, and you're gonna go to university. Mm-hmm. Daniel, you like to be in the garden, so we're gonna put you in horticulture, but you're not going to university. You're going to go work on the local farm or fill in the blank, right?
Yeah, interesting choice for me.
I thought so too. I was thinking of Carrie, actually. But my point is, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
Because kids change, your interests change, right? And maybe
they change through exploration, like trying stuff out.
Yeah. So there's no perfect world, I don't think. Anyway, sorry.
I would push back on that a little bit. I would go, Michael, the opposite of what you just described, because I don't like that at all.
Yeah, me either.
Even what you described, Daniel, I would take it further and say, I think you should allow the capital markets to work more. Yeah. And I think we saw a recent example of that where the state and local and federal governments were all pushing STEM really hard, and not just STEM, but also college. Right. Yeah. Everyone needs to be college bound for the good of society.
That doesn't work.
Well, if you had just allowed the capital markets to work, right? Electricians and plumbers are paying $100,000 a year within like 5 years of graduation from high school.
Yeah.
And so that would have driven people there. And instead you've got like Mike Rowe out there beating the drum for the last 15 years. Yeah. And no one's paying attention because of the rigidity of the education system. Couldn't pivot fast enough. And so it's just still pushing
100%.
college.
Do you think that was the government that was kind of pushing that angle?
I think it was. Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't say pushing it as much as it was the momentum, right? Like once you institutionalize, like here's how we're going to get more kids going to four-year university. Well, you can't just pivot on that in a matter of 5 to 10 years. You've got testing that pushes towards that. You've got all these prep schools. You've got, here in Indianapolis Public Schools, right? IPS had all these programs to like try to make sure these kids are going to college. Right. When it's very possible, if you had just allowed the capital markets to work and let the kids just say, I can make how much? Like, okay, I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
Or how about
it seems like sorry, Michael, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how about I have an interest? Like as a child, I want to work with wood, or I want to work with metal, or I want to be a welder. But there's nothing in place today, let alone 7 years ago, 10 years ago, for a trade school for that child to go explore that.
Well, and 10 years ago, they were being pushed back on. Told like, you better not, because I have
That's
to
right.
hit these criteria.
That's right.
The X number of kids go to college, and so
That's
now
right.
I'm going to push you away from the thing that you're interested in.
Well, it's a perfect storm because as parents, to this day, I don't know one parent who has said, I don't want my child to go to college. Every parent says they want their child to go to college. And they don't say, I want my child to be a welder. Right?
Yeah.
But that may be what they want.
And I think that it also needs, so if a kid wants to be a welder because they somehow discovered that, that's great. But most of them aren't going to, because society around them is saying it's bad to be a welder. That's a lowly job.
Correct. Not only that, but we've taken away the opportunity to even experience
the
that.
opportunity is scarce, and social pressures are, you need to be doing something that is more prestigious.
Right.
And so if you're in a affluent community, that prestigious experience is more important to society, to everyone around you, and they're going to push you towards that. And that person who's just like, I'm not an academic person,
right?
And maybe they don't even know how to say it as a kid. I'm not a person that wants to be in books all the time, sit in an office.
Right.
I want to work at Papa John's like your son. And I think that I think you nailed it with the whole momentum word. The whole economy is moved around this idea that you have to go to a 4-year university and then maybe something after that as well, and then get special degrees and then get some job associated with the way that degree, where that degree lands you. Yep. And I think that I have no idea who to blame for it, but the universities are culprits for sure, because they obviously want to make sure that they keep that gravy train going. Sure. And the authority that they get perceived to have in society.
It's a perfect storm.
The government is a culprit. The lending market is a culprit, which has a lot of regulation and capital markets involved. So that's, maybe blame both sides of that. Yep. And I think at the end of the day, what we find is that all of that together has created a situation where higher education is more expensive than the ROI.
Oh yeah.
And the ROI is upside down. And I didn't go to college, I tried to go to college, but I didn't go to college because there were barriers that prevented me from going to college. And the biggest one was not knowing how to overcome those barriers, not knowing that there was a solution for the issues that I was faced with. Okay. And long story short, I applied for jobs and didn't get them. I did get my first job, and it was a good opportunity through a connection. But I couldn't get a marketing job when I was pursuing one. So I made one. And I don't think, I'm not delusional to think that anybody can or should do that. But making my first marketing job was the only way I could get the job. And now I have become an authority on the subject.
Well,
the authority.
There you go. There you go. Better.
But no, I say without joking, like I'm a senior, level. I'm a credible person in the field.
Yeah. You're recognized as an authority in the field.
The authority.
I'm sorry, the authority.
So,
how did that slip my
no,
mind?
I'm not. I do like the joke, but I'm not trying to inflate my position. The point is that if the system did not work for me,
right, and
I was lucky enough to have straight teeth,
right, you were good looking, you were tall,
very good looking,
you were tall,
tall,
and
be
berries and these,
and be basically an extrovert.
Only in this country, though, can you get away with something like that. I mean, seriously, when you think about what you just said, in this country, that's what makes us great, is that you created an opportunity for yourself, whereas in most countries, it's really difficult to do that. In some countries, you can't even do that, right?
Yeah, some countries, the laws proactively prevent it. But I don't know what other countries are like, to be honest.
I only know from what I've seen and witnessed with my own eyes in travel. But yeah, so there's an element of, and I'm a big micro fan. I've been beating on that drum for 20 years. A lot of our clients are We've got plumbers and HVAC and welding companies, and these guys are all desperate for really good qualified help.
Yeah.
And there are programs that are in play trying to create those opportunities. But if it doesn't start early enough at home or in whatever that environment is, there's a stigma that's attached to that. And that's a shame, because we need all pieces of that in our society, whatever that is.
My nephew, he just turned some age, an adult age.
Just make one up.
Let's say 20.
All right, good.
I don't keep track of people's names.
Can he drink legally?
No.
Okay, it's 20. We'll go 20.
But yeah, that's
20.
great. That's great.
20. Go on.
20 sounds right.
The nephew who's
but it
20.
might be 18. It might be 19. I have no idea. Anyway, he just became an electrician.
Yeah.
And so there was some point in time where he, tried out college and just it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
And then he realized, I think I just want to do this thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had some exposure to it, and now he's the man. Like, he's already gone through his the apprenticeship and the whole process.
Great.
And since I got his age wrong, I'm probably getting some of these details wrong too. But the point stands is that he just realized, and it took him trial and error at a young age to do it, to figure out, the prescribed route isn't for me.
Yeah.
And the route that he figured out is like, I like to use my hands. I like to not sit down all day long. And,
when we get John Arbuckle on here, John, if you're listening, it's time. Mission Mechanical, dad started the business, brothers are in the business. John goes to Wabash, gets his degree. Where do you think John works today? Mission Mechanical as the president. And we laugh about it because it's like, did you need to go to Wabash? Not really. Was it fun? Sure it was. But did you need that, right? So, and that's a big conversation, because they're a 100+ employee type company, and they're looking for the very people that John was when he came into it. And do you need a college degree for that? No, you don't.
Don't you think that sentiment has changed over the last 10, 15 years, though?
Oh, yeah.
Like, even to your point, Michael, even amongst parents.
Yes.
I think a lot of parents now would just say, I just want my kid to be able to support themselves and be happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And like 20 years ago, it was like, no son of mine isn't going to college or
Spot
whatever
on.
that is.
Spot
so I think
on.
that has changed some. And I
do too.
And I think they are trying to change now the education system and create a lot of these trades. I know Ivy Tech is trying to create a lot of
big supporters
adaptive-
of Ivy Tech and what they're doing.
Yeah.
I really love what they're doing. There's a... Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
go
I
ahead.
still think that on that point, that culture needs to change too,
Yes. Yeah, it
because
does.
the government can't do enough or back off enough.
Right,
Like, I
right.
think
It's also culture.
It's also culture,
For sure.
because I think that the case of my nephew is exactly one of those. Probably, I'm sure his parents are very supportive. One of them's my brother. The people around them, and I'm not making a judgment on individuals, but like the society around them says, is he going to go to college?
Right.
He's got to do that, get a good job. That's the way to go.
Yep.
And it makes people feel like less than less
Yeah.
than good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they land at something where they get their hands dirty, because apparently that's frowned upon in some cases.
Yeah, and we desperately need all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll sign off with this thought that about 7 or 8 years ago, Jennifer, who works with us, our office manager at the time, had a son who was graduating high school. Wasn't sure what he wanted to do, and there was a woman that we did business with back then that came in and did an analysis of the child, like features and traits that they enjoy, and they would pivot that into most likely to have success in these categories, these fields, college bound or otherwise, did not matter. It was just XYZ. Jennifer would tell you to this day it was one of the most amazing things they did, and he was the youngest of the three. They've all done well, but it was so imperative because they figured out what was best for him, and he didn't know, they didn't know, and I would argue most people don't know what's best for you. You're 16, 17 years old, going on 18.
Of course. Yeah,
I
you
didn't
need
know what I
exposure
wanted.
to
Right,
opportunities.
absolutely. So I think we need more of that. I think we need to have some compassion, some grace. I like what you said earlier, Ryan, about having grace with everyone. I think we just need more of that in our world, and we get to a bigger place, a better
Tell
place.
me what you think about this, Ryan. So you've got 9 kids. Do you see them having an opportunity to work in your businesses?
Potentially. So my daughter is our office manager at Select Sewing.
Well, see, there you go, doggone it. She's already in it.
And she doesn't love it. And so she's also in graduate school.
That's a good way to teach.
She did it because it's a great job in the family business, you know, while she's in graduate school.
And I get paid every week.
Yeah, she gets paid every week.
She loves that.
But then she also she actually did that testing. All of our kids did that testing about like, you know,
so good
in like early high school, late junior high, about like kind of your personality, and hers said, do not ever have an office job.
Oh my gosh!
And
there you go.
that really resonated with her.
Yeah.
She writes novels. She's very creative. She'd like to be published someday. And so anyway, so she, in addition to working in our store, she now also just got a job as an RBT, which I can't remember what that stands for. But she works with people with autism.
Behavioral therapist.
Registered behavioral therapist. Yes.
Because
she works with kids with autism, and she just started that and is loving it. So she's doing that and being the office manager at the store and going to graduate school.
Wow.
I have another son who is in. I don't know what grade they're in because they're all homeschooled, so I can never know what grade they're in. Anyway, he's 15. I can tell you his age. And he is very headed towards he'll be graduating from high school probably this year at 15.
We'll see.
And so he's doing a tour of Purdue, Indianapolis in the next few weeks for their either mechanical or electrical engineering program. Yeah. And so we're trying to get him to come summers and repair sewing machines because we do full repair. Yeah. And he would be really good at that. So yeah, I definitely see opportunities. My youngest son, who's 11, is who was it that mentioned they had a child or a niece or nephew that I think it's your daughter, who is strong-willed, but extremely like gregarious.
Yeah.
So that's my 11-year-old son. He's very, very strong-willed, and I don't know that he'll ever be able to work for someone. Honestly,
yeah. Well, there you go.
I probably can't pronounce that at 11, but it doesn't
seem
like he would never be able to work for somebody. Extremely gregarious, captures the room when he walks into it, and so I suspect him to be an entrepreneur. So I could see him either taking over this business or running it or something, or just he'll go off and do his own thing, or he'll be an independent sales contract or something, because that's going to be a fit for him.
Daniel's business and my business will be for sale by then too, if he wants to buy something. I'm just saying, if he wants to buy something.
Mine's never going to be for sale. Do you plan to hold your business, or do you want to flip it at some point?
I would like to hold it 5 to 10 years and then sell it if possible. If I can grow it to that point where, you know, the SDE is there, adjusted EBITDA, whatever, and I can sell it, I would love to see it live on, just because I think it's a cool business, and I think it's actually a resurging business.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, people want to build unique things. They want to be makers. Yeah. And they don't want to just go be spreadsheet jockeys. Plus, AI will take that over. So
will. And then I know you're trying to wrap up, Michael, but
I'm going to get you there.
I'm going to be here all night.
I know.
Let's talk about AI. Earlier,
you're starting.
We'll be here all night
on AI.
AI
we need to close on something really juicy.
Jiminy Christmas.
Is this the cliffhanger so I come back?
Absolutely. Okay. So there was this, you talked about Edison inventing all these things and saying people are going to work 4 hours. And that's what a lot of the AI
promises
people are saying, especially Elon Musk types, and I think that sounds ridiculous. What do you think about that?
I think I'm gonna give you the consulting answer. It depends.
Oh, that sounds like someone in
I've
your
got two
industry.
sides to this, so I think we probably could have a whole nother show on this.
I can't believe you started with this.
So AI, what we think of as generative AI today, I think it's ridiculous to think that that's going to eliminate like so many jobs that will need a universal basic income and everyone will just be paid to not work.
Agree. Yeah.
I think it's going to massively improve productivity, health. I think we're going to live to 100. I think we're going to have, autonomous vehicles, and I think we will have even more and more stuff. I think we'll have bigger houses, fancier cars. I think we're going to do the same thing we did ever since we had electricity, right? Just more.
Bigger.
The caveat that I will put on that, and this is a whole nother topic, is humanoid robots, I believe, will have a really significant impact.
Well,
Yes.
you're in the
Absolutely.
Elon Musk camp.
Work.
He thinks
Yeah.
so too.
So
China's already showing us that.
correct. So that part, so not the generative part of AI, just like doing the spreadsheets for you. We'll just be way more productive, and we'll just have way more stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't worry me. Humanoid robots, I think that's a game changer.
Yeah.
That when it is doing the things like, I mean, obviously I can buy a robot vacuum, but imagine having a robot that I can literally just say, just use my regular vacuum.
Yeah.
Now just make me dinner.
Yeah.
Now just
Clean
go
the
get that
dishes.
heavy thing off the shelf. I mean, think about elderly folks
Yeah.
who can just have it get something heavy off the shelf.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that a handyman, like the handyman business, the home repair business. Like I've been working on my deck. I need a whole new deck, but
Yeah.
if I could have a humanoid robot just do what I just did for the last 2 weeks on my deck.
They wrote movies
It's-
about this 20 years ago.
They did, but it is
And it's
so
here.
close to.
It's here.
It is not quite here, but yeah, it's here.
They're-
The
I mean, they're
technology
really
exists.
close.
The physical robots are here.
So
I mean, they're
I
walking around.
I can't remember where I read this or saw it or whatever. There was I read an article or something describing a machine that basically was a manufacturing robot that had some AI capability in it, whatever the software firmware was, and they put a GoPro on it and then folded clothes, and it learned to fold clothes based on watching
Yeah.
the clothes be folded once by humans,
Yeah.
and then it perfects the process because it can be
Yeah.
you can tweak it and tighten it up, and so I think that the whole idea of I don't know. I do think that this needs to be another episode.
It does. I can't believe you started or ended with this. But, dude, I mean, Anthropic's using inferior code AI to help write superior code AI. I mean,
Yeah.
It's
it's
self-developing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
like
here,
parents
brother.
having kids.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Right.
and it's on a train that's moving so fast. But I agree with what you said, Ryan. I think it's going to be beneficial in a lot of ways. And the manual labor, and that's been moving away from us for a long time. Whether or not people want to agree with it. So look at the auto industry. I mean, you got huge presses and stamps and
I think it's
arms.
fine for manual labor to go away. I mean, to a degree, there's some loss in that too, because I
Sure.
think there's something about
Sure.
engaging your body, which you can do
Yes.
through recreation as
Right,
well.
right.
But
It forces you to have to go find another trade.
Right.
And
But
that's what it does.
yeah, exactly. Even if it is the simplest answer, might be that some of those people are just managing
Yes.
the process instead of being on the line. But then there's somebody that's displaced because of that.
Yeah.
I think that I am. It does depend. I like that answer. I think that's my favorite answer of the entire podcast history. But and my kids are so annoyed with answers like that whenever we talk about
I'm
anything.
still annoyed with answers like
Yeah.
that, but go on.
But I am highly skeptical that we will just eliminate work for people.
I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening.
Because of the exact reason that you cited, which I've heard that quote before from Edison about, people are only going to be working so much.
You'll still want to
We
do
will
something.
constantly
Yes.
reformat how we look at work.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about the number of people who like retire, and then a month in, 2 months in,
They're
just
looking for a
say,
side hustle.
I gotta do something. This is horrific.
Right.
Yeah.
We are wired. We were built to
Yeah.
accomplish things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we will find ways to accomplish
Right.
things, even if there is some kind of like a universal basic income.
Yeah.
We'll volunteer. Then people
Yeah.
will do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I was a kid, the only delivery was pizza. And now
Well, there's
everything
newspapers
and newspapers.
and McDonald's.
Fine.
I'm just saying there's more than pizza.
I'm just saying people will order every meal by
Yes.
delivery. We have a neighbor a couple of doors down that their nickname is
Delivery.
DoorDasher because every single meal.
And it's not
every
because they
single
drive
meal.
for DoorDash.
Yeah.
Because
So,
they receive so much DoorDash.
right.
Just send your car to go get it.
But that industry didn't exist,
Right,
is what I'm
right,
saying.
yeah.
And I think that, there are
Ghost kitchens.
retired people.
Yeah,
there are
ghost
ghost
kitchens,
kitchens.
yeah.
That didn't
Right.
exist.
Once
The list goes on.
Yeah,
Right.
Once there's drone delivery, you think
Yeah.
about how many
Yeah.
ghost kitchens will multiply times 100.
Yeah,
the second drone delivery happens.
Yeah, and not only drones, but you'll have self-driving automobiles that'll just bring it, right? I mean, it's happening as we speak. It's crazy.
Not to mention the societal good. Like my oldest son drives. He has autism. He drives and he works a job.
Yeah.
He hates driving. It's just something that terrifies him at all times. He would love to not drive.
Yeah.
Well, he can't afford to Uber to work and back every day.
Right.
But the second autonomous vehicles and Uber is like, fractions of what it is now.
Yeah.
We'll all be on it.
I felt safer than ever in a Waymo a couple weeks ago. I did not feel the least bit of worry. This person or this vehicle experience smelled better than a regular driver.
There was no regular driver.
It was literally
there was no driver,
a better
right?
experience than
was
an
this
Uber.
in Phoenix or where was this?
This was in LA.
LA,
Yeah. So Waymo is just second nature there anymore. It's as prevalent as Uber, whereas it's only in so many cities right now.
Yeah.
But eventually, every car is going to be have that option built into it.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Well, in Tesla, they've got however many billions of miles that they have fed into their AI.
Yeah.
And they say they're 1/7 the accident rate. So it's 7 times safer or whatever.
We took the Tesla down to Florida between Christmas and New Year's. It self-drove us the entire way there and back. It's unbelievable. I can't say enough good things about it. It's incredible.
I'm a believer.
Yep,
but I think we need to come back to this conversation because
AI?
it's a bigger one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right. Ryan, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for
being
being
with
Good
us.
to see you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Thanks.
All right. Everybody have a great week.